All right, g'day. We're here today. The girls have sprung it on me a little bit. They've just come out to the workshop and said, hey, we want to do a quick video on spur straps. So we'll have one take here, please. And yeah, so excuse the attire. I'm not really prepared, but anyway, I've got a couple of spur straps and a couple of dirty old cowboy boots. These are my spur straps. I'm Angus Barrett, I make these, and I've got two spur straps here to show you today. They're both our fitted spur strap, which is our shape spur strap. That's it from behind. This is the plain fitted spur strap, meaning it's one piece of leather. This is the dress spur strap, and it's made of two bits of leather, so it's lined on the inside. It's one layer of leather that we've carved. I've carved, stamped it, carved it, dyed it and finished it all up, but then I line it as well, so the lining gives it a much nicer finish. If you can see on the back there, we've got a smooth finish, and that's because it's a smooth out, so the leather, two flesh sides are sewn together, whereas this one here is it's the flesh out. I make two types of spur straps. We make a fitted spur strap and a station spur strap. The fitted spur strap is made up of three parts, and the main part is the pad, and then the strap and the buckle part. Okay. Now the only difference between the fitted and the station is the pad. Okay. So the station spur straps are exactly the same, strap and buckle, just without the pad. Now, what I like about the pad and why I make the pad and why I'm showing you these ones is because they're my favourite. And what I like about them is the pad is designed to hug your boot, so your spur sits on your boot and hangs onto your boot, not using a strap to do your spur up tight. All right, so I've got the spurs as well. These are the spurs that we sell. This is a stainless steel spur that we sell. We've got they've got a little boot lip in here, and what the spur lip, I think they might call it. You have to ask a spur maker, but the lip is designed to sit under what I think is called the welt of the boot, which is just above the heel. And on this boot, you might be able to see I've got a spur lip there, and that's where the spur sits on and locks into position there. You know, so it doesn't ride up and it doesn't ride down. More importantly. Okay, now I've got two types of boots. Both have spur lips. This is my flat heel ball block heel boot, and it has a nice big chunky heavy reinforced spur lip, which is give plenty of support for the spur to sit on with this little lip. And I use a block heel boot for different type of riding to the Cuban heel boot. When I ride in this spur when I'm working in the paddock or if I'm doing stock work. And that's because I'm on and off the horse and I'm walking. They're a lot more comfortable, but also I don't stick as much of my foot into the oxbow. I'm riding in a different saddle with a wider tread on the oxbow in the stock saddle, and I ride the ball of my foot on the oxbow. All right, I'll put that spur on there to show you. That's where it sits. With the Cuban heel boot, this boot I pretty well only ride if I'm riding in a in my cutting saddle, and that's because I've got a narrow oxbow, like a 20 or 30, maybe 30 mil oxbow, and I put my foot right in, so I've got a narrow toe here, not as broad as that other boot, and that's because I ride that foot right in there, and I really hug that those oxbows and hug the horse, and I can really wrap my legs around the horse and ride with my legs. They're the two different boots. I don't know, I just call them cowboy boots. Anyway, this is the spur, and I'll just put the spur strap on for you and show you how they go on. When you get your spurs, they've got a screw which screws the rowel in. I decide which is the outside by looking at that screw, and that screw I sit it to the outside, so I haven't got any sharp edges. Not that it's sharp up against the horse, but I just do it that way so I know. And then I take the spur. So when you get your spur, if you buy your spur from us, the spur's very uniform, they're all the same, different sizes but the same size, same shape and all the rest of it, but I always take them to the anvil when I first get them, and I set my spurs, or I shape the spurs to fit my boot the same you would a shoe to a horse. and I put that on the anvil and I bash it out. So for example, on this boot here, this is my right foot and my right boot, I jam that in there, and you can see here, I don't know if you can, but I've rolled that out so that I don't get the spur rubbing on the inside. And same with the other one. On the other boot, I've rolled that right over there. I walk maybe on a little bit, but so that the spurs are comfortable. There's no reason to be uncomfortable in your spurs. You should be able to wear them all day and not even really know they're on there. But I roll that out, and you won't break these spurs. They're stainless steel. You could bend them 90 degrees if you wanted. You're not going to break them. Now, getting the spur on, I take your straps will turn up. They'll turn up in a pair. So like that, with the straps on the pad. You undo the pad. Oh yeah, that's a point too. This buckle in particular, it's a cart buckle, and this other one's a half heel buckle. These buckles aren't made for, and the straps aren't made for doing up and undoing all the time. So every time you want to take your spurs off, you don't undo your buckle. You only wear the strap out or shorten its life. And I'll show you. I'll put them on in a minute when I finish. But that's what they're made like that. Anyway, where's my spur? Is here. I've got a little tool. I just use the blunt tool. It's a couple of different tools here. They're not anything in particular. This is a Fid. They're both Fids out of the workshop. This has just got like a soft spoon tip on it, which is won't damage the leather. You can use anything. You could use a fork, the back of a fork, or a screwdriver. You just want to file, if you're going to use a screwdriver, maybe file the tip back a little bit so that it's not rough, because you're going to put it in here under the pad, and what you do is you jam it in there, and you just roll the edge of that leather up, jam your thumb in there, and then you put that button in there just like this, put it in there, push it down, and then it'll corkscrew around, and that goes on easily there. But they won't go on easily when you get them, because they're made really tight. They're made to be tight. I designed them to be tight. They're made to be difficult to get on, and that's because they're difficult to get off as well. And then this one here with the strap side, I just separate the leather a little bit. You can wobble it around and break some of those, loosen those fibers up a little bit, and then I put one end in, the same as what I did before. Put that in there and corkscrew it around, whichever way it goes. There, like that. Give it a thing. Now, when you get it on, you might see that it's rolled up one of the corners. Get your tool in there or whatever it is, and just get that leather laying down nicely. And same with underneath this one. Get it all set in underneath the button on the spur, and that's because just take the time to get it set, because when you do get it set, it's not going to change afterwards. Okay, and then the dress spur straps, which have 2 layers of leather, they're a little bit more difficult to get on. That's because I've sewn the 2 bits of leather together. So you've got the main frame plus the lining. Now the lining isn't structural. It's not there to hold your spur strap to your spur. You have to get in under the 2 layers of leather, and this is definitely more difficult. It's a little bit thicker. These are harder wearing spur straps. And so you've really got to get in under 2. Where'd my spur go? What's on my boot? Anyway, I get that now. That's dropped in under my thumb, so I need to open that up again, really roll that up. You won't damage the leather. The only way you can damage the leather is by cutting it, not by stretching it. Put that in there. You won't need water. You don't need to wet it. Get that button in there. It's going to be difficult for me today, which is fine. Get that button in there and screw it around. Might have to go around a couple of times. There we go, and then it drops in. And then this is the one where you've really got to get that leather laying down in there, and just go to the effort to get it set. This one might be difficult as well. Just open those fibres up, get that button in there, and it really, because I've got 2 layers of leather, it really fills that buttonhole up, which is good. You don't want it wobbling around there or loose. And then set it in there. Now I'll do this up. I don't take my spurs off. Like I said, I have 2 different sets of boots for different styles of riding or working or whatever I'm doing. Now this one here, I've got it on this boot, and this one I slide my spurs and my spur strap over the boot, pull it down like that, and then I just get that to set in there. Once they get worn in there, like everything else, they fit perfectly and comfortably. You can see now how that's really hugging the boot. It's not done up tight, it's comfortable. And then you can pull, nothing wrong with pulling your boots off by standing on your spurs. You're not going to damage anything, or nothing that I've made anyway. And that's it, I'll leave that on there. And this one here, I'll do the same with it. It just, and if you do want to take your spurs off, say you get to town, you don't really want to go to Woolies or Carl's or Kentucky Fry with your spurs on, you just rip your boot off and pull your spur off over the top. Don't bother undoing it. Get that on there, and that's them. They're the Angus Barrett spur straps. Don't hesitate to give us a call if you've got any questions. Not much else I can tell you. Enjoy, stay cool.